going to be painting these two items that I have shown you on my community tab. These are thrift store finds. So I got this for a couple of bucks. It looks like it has good bones, nothing, no screws missing. So it's made of wood, but it's not heavy, it's light, so I like it. So it can be good as a jewelry box or a trinket box. And then this is the bird cage. It's made of, I don't know if this is really wrought iron. Yeah, it is, I think. This has this ring here so that you can hang it from above. Just gonna paint that as well. Another thing that I'm gonna be painting is this mirror here, and I just want to paint this gold, paint over it. Okay, and then I'm going to do a little bit of distressing with the chalk paint because this has seen better days. It's 20 years old, I believe. So I'm just trying to revamp the look of our home. Like for example, this wrought iron wall relief that I've featured on my home tour for what, the past 3 years now, or past couple of years, and how many seasons now. I am gonna repaint that. I just want to brighten up our home. I'm gonna get started with these two small ones. I'm using this folk art home decor chalk paint in sheepskin color. It's actually ivory color, and I'm also using this chalk paintbrush that I got at Amazon. Both of them I purchased from Amazon, and this is not a sponsored video. I'm just sharing you the information just in case you would like to purchase something similar that I used, and I'm going to put them in the description box below. So the way I paint wooden finishes, I follow the direction of the wood grain. So make sure that before you paint, you at least clean the product or the item, especially if you're buying them secondhand, and then remove any label. So I'm just dabbing paint here, and I'm doing just a couple of coats and then just going around the box. And I'm also going to be adding some distressed finish on that front relief decoration, and I'll be using the wet paper towel method, but you can also use sandpaper or sanding blocks if you want to. So I'm just giving it a second coat. Make sure it's covered, and I'm keeping the interior in its original color. I'm just wiping any excess paint just to keep it clean and neat, and with that same wet paper towel I am rubbing this decoration here, you know, the raised wooden decor, and then giving it a distressed look. I'm also painting this wrought iron birdcage using the same brush and paint. I'm painting inside and outside of this birdcage, but I am not totally covering every part with paint because I want to make it look like it's weathered, and just making sure it looks old and distressed as well. So next to each other, they kind of blend well. Now I'm doing the same thing using the same paintbrush and paint. I am painting the frame of this hallway mirror. So I decided not to bring it down because again it's heavy and big, and it weighs a ton. So just to save my husband's back as well, I told him no, I don't need to take it down. And I'm just painting it carefully. Now if you want, you can put painter's tape. I was just being very careful here, and here's how it looks like. I like the whitewashed finish, and I'm going to be adding another layer or another coat of paint, but it's going to be kind of like a dry brush technique, and I'm going to also apply the same technique of rubbing the, you know, those decorations there. I'm going to be using also the wet paper towel method on this one here so that I can show the details instead of using sandpaper. Yeah. Yeah. Works I want to show some, not all. So I'm going to be doing this or using this technique on all of the raised designs, even the small border, and it adds dimension or depth, and I'm really liking how it looks like right now. All the way around, this is how it turns out. If you notice, the inner frame, I left it gold, and it pops out much better now with the distressed finish of the bigger part of the frame. I'm loving it. And now here they are, including the wooden box as well as the bird cage. Now I'm going to go ahead and do this wrought iron wall relief and give it a makeover. Before I paint it, I am removing the dust or any dirt that may have settled in the crevices. I'm just using a damp paper towel, and then using the same paintbrush as well as the same chalk paint that I used for the items that I painted earlier, I'm giving this a weathered look by applying the paint in a dry brush technique. When I say dry brush, I'm kind of removing excess paint onto the paper plate, kind of wiping it off there so that it's not too wet when you apply the paint. I don't know if I'm making any sense. It's still wet, but it's not too wet, not too thick. Although I'm applying a couple of coats here, I'm still making sure that some of the black from the wrought iron is still showing on the crevices, just to give it additional depth. Now, to add another depth or additional depth, I'm using this nutmeg brown acrylic paint by Apple Barrel that I got at Walmart. And you can use paintbrush, artist paintbrush, but I'm using this small sponge to apply in dry brush technique. Look at me here, removing the excess, and then I'm just applying the nutmeg brown acrylic paint in places where I think they would add a little bit more depth or dimension. What I'm trying to achieve here is a weathered look, kind of like rust appearing through the paint. I don't know if I'm making any sense, but probably you watching me how I do it would probably make more sense. So I do it everywhere, crevices, also on the sides, top and bottom, and then any excess that I see, I wipe them off with my paper towel. So here's a close-up view of what I'm doing. And yeah, I like the way that it looks like, and now here it is against the wall. Now our wall is eggshell white, and of course, since I applied a sheepskin or ivory color on the wall relief, adding that brown makes it pop a little bit better, because the color of the wall as well as the wall relief are kind of similar. Now maybe someday we'll paint the wall a little darker, maybe gray, but right now we're not painting the wall, so we're keeping it as is, and at least it pops out because of the additional distress finish. Now I'm using this wreath. I know this is a wreath that looks so wintry because it's flocked. I got this at Target Dollar Spot last winter, but this is a perfect size wreath, and I don't mind seeing the flocking, to be honest. Actually, in some of the areas here in the Sierras close to where we live, there's still snow. Okay, so I'm just putting it in the middle here, and then probably later on I'm going to be purchasing or making my own small wreath that is more like evergreen all year round wreath. I like the simplicity of it, and again, I don't mind it being flocked, even though it's already spring, because it seems like winter in other places still. Okay, now I'm gonna go ahead and set up the table, the wrought iron table with the marble glass top table that I've had been using. But before that, let me just show you that I also added this garland here on top of the mirror, and I also got this at Target Dollar Spot last I think fall or maybe early winter, and at least it's not flocked like this one, so that can stay there all year round as well. So I'm just keeping it simple. So I am not going to be painting the bottom part of this long table here. I'm keeping it as it is, and I just dusted it off, and I like the distressed look that it has on the legs. It has the gold peering through the black paint. I left it as is because the marble on top with the glass already matches or complements the color that I used on the other things that I painted earlier. So here I am setting this up with the things that we have in farmhouse style. Now the one on the left, the terrarium, I DIY'd that last year, so I'm going to be linking it up here in the upper right hand corner, and I'm going to put the thumbnail so that you can watch the original video. So this is how I'm setting it up, and voila. I'm going to add a little bit of finishing touches to this bird here, where I placed the Dollar Tree pillar candle inside the back of this ceramic bird that I purchased at 99-cent store. And here it is. I love how it looks like. Terrarium on the left is a DIY from last year, and it complements the wrought iron. Using the same sponge that I used to add the rust on the wrought iron, I am applying the remaining nutmeg brown paint to the edges of the pages of this book to make it look like it's old as well. So I'm just, using the same kind of dry brush technique, only a little paint can go a long way on both books. Let me show you how it is set up currently. I kind of changed a few things a bit, so you can see those books are still stacked. And then I like the edges, how I made them look pretty old. And then, of course, I forgot to tell you or mention that this, inside this bird cage, because the top can open up, so I placed that small potted greenery there. Now, it kind of matches or echoes the potted greenery in the DIY terrarium that I made. So I am liking also the addition of this lamp. The base matches the ceramic bird that I got at 99-cent only store. I positioned my terrarium. It was diagonal earlier, now it's straight. So the big terrarium is balanced by this lamp shade. So that's it, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope that I have inspired you to reuse, upcycle, refresh, revamp what you have. And if you are looking for things, don't buy retail yet unless you really have to. Just go to your Dollar Tree DIY things like terrarium that I made last year, and then also get some thrifted items so that you will not break the bank. So I hope that I will see you again in my next video, everyone. Don't forget to leave some comments down below, and if you're new to my channel, subscribe and click that notification bell so that you will not miss any of my new uploads. Have a great day, and God bless. Talk to you again on my next video. Bye bye.